Alex Sterling was 38 years old, and until that rainy Tuesday in early March, he believed his marriage was engineered to perfection. Like the skyscrapers he designed, precise, stable, built to withstand storms, his life with Maya seemed structurally sound. But that afternoon, Alex made a choice that would demolish every assumption he'd constructed about trust, commitment, and the woman who shared his bed each night. He decided to surprise his wife at her hotel in Chicago. The commission check hit Alex's account at 2:47 p.m. on a gray Thursday afternoon. 6 figures. The kind of number that should have made him feel something: pride, relief, validation for the 70-hour weeks and the sleep-lost overload calculations. Instead, he felt hollow. He sat in his glass-walled office, surrounded by blueprints and scale models of buildings that didn't exist yet, and all he could think about was the empty space beside him in bed that morning. Maya had left for Chicago 3 days ago. Her 5th trip in 2 months. The Meridian deal is at a critical stage, she'd said, her voice distracted as she zipped her designer luggage. Victor needs me there to finalize the investor presentation. Victor. Her business partner. All easy charm and expensive cologne. Alex closed his laptop and stared out at the city skyline, watching rain streak down the window. When had Maya stopped looking at him the way she used to? When had her goodnight texts become shorter, more clinical? When had "I love you" started feeling like a checkbox on her daily agenda? The phone buzzed. Maya's message appeared: late dinner with clients. Don't wait up. Miss you. No heart emoji this time. Not even a kiss. Alex made his decision in the time it took his heart to beat 3 times. By 3:15, he'd booked a red-eye to Chicago. By 3:30, he'd ordered champagne and roses to be delivered to the Grand Hyatt, room 2847, the number she'd texted him for emergencies. By 4 o'clock, he was driving home to pack, imagining the surprise on her face when he showed up at her door. We can fix this, he thought. Whatever's pulling us apart, we can rebuild it. The flight left at 11:20 p.m. Alex barely slept, his mind racing through scenarios: candle at room service, her laughter, the way she used to curl into him and make the world feel smaller, warmer, possible. He landed at 5:40 a.m. Chicago was cold and rain-soaked, the streets slick with reflection. By 7 o'clock, he stood in the Grand Hyatt lobby, overnight bag in hand, rehearsing his smile. I'm here to surprise my wife, he told the woman at the front desk. Maya Sterling, room 2847. The woman's fingers moved across the keyboard. Then stopped. Her expression shifted, subtle, but Alex had spent his career reading structural stress. The room is registered under a corporate card, she said carefully. But the reservation shows 2 guests. She paused. Ms. Maya Sterling and Mr. Victor Thorne. The marble floor didn't crack. The chandelier didn't fall. But something inside Alex did. Alex heard the words, but they arrived in pieces, like debris falling from a collapsed structure. 2 guests. Victor Thorne. The woman at the desk was still talking, her mouth moving, something about hotel policy and privacy, but the sound had gone distant and muffled, as if he were underwater. Sir. Are you all right? He forced himself to focus. The lobby came back into sharp relief, the gleaming marble, the fountain in the corner, the businessmen with their rolling suitcases heading toward the elevators. Normal people doing normal things while his world quietly disassembled itself. What floor? His voice sounded steady. Architectural. A question seeking structural information. 28th, but I can't. Thank you. Alex walked toward the elevators, each step deliberate, controlled. His training kicked in automatically. When a building showed signs of catastrophic failure, you didn't panic. You documented. You assessed. You found the flaw in the design before deciding how to proceed. He pressed the button for the 28th floor. The elevator rose in silence. Alex watched the numbers climb, his reflection ghosting in the polished steel doors. He looked the same as he had an hour ago, same khakis, same navy jacket, same wedding ring catching the overhead light. But something fundamental had shifted, like a foundation settling into ground that was never solid to begin with. There's an explanation, he told himself. A business meeting. A cost-saving measure. Separate beds. The doors opened onto a hushed corridor. Tasteful sconces cast warm light on cream-colored walls. Room numbers in brass. 2841, 2843. 2845. Alex stood outside the door and heard his heart beating in his ears. From inside came the muffled sound of a television. Then laughter, Maya's laughter, bright and unguarded in a way he hadn't heard in months. Then a man's voice, low and intimate, "Come back to bed." More laughter. The rustle of sheets. Maya's voice, playful, breathless, "Victor, we have that meeting in 3 hours. Then we have 3 hours. The sound that followed was unmistakable. Alex stood frozen in the corridor, his hand halfway to the door, his entire body locked in place. Every blueprint he'd ever drawn, every calculation he'd ever made, every structure he believed was permanent, all of it collapsed into a single, devastating truth. He lowered his hand. Turned away from the door. Walked back to the elevator with the precision of a man who had just discovered that everything he'd built was constructed on sand. Alex found himself in a stairwell 6 floors down, sitting on cold concrete steps, staring at his phone. His hands weren't shaking. That surprised him. Everything else felt like it was vibrating at a frequency just below visible, his vision, his breathing, the architecture of his thoughts, but his hands were steady. The engineer in him took over. He opened his phone's camera and scrolled back to the photos he'd taken on instinct. The hotel entrance with its brass nameplate and address clearly visible. The elevator directory showing floor 28. The hallway leading to room 2847. The door itself, brass numbers catching the light. Time stamp, 7:23 a.m. He opened his notes app and began typing with mechanical precision. Grand Hyatt Chicago. 2847, March 12. 7:23 a.m. 2 voices confirmed. M and VT, intimate. No ambiguity. His fingers moved across the screen like they were drafting specifications. Date. Location. Evidence observed. Parties involved. A structural failure report for a marriage. The stairwell door above him opened. Footsteps echoed, a housekeeper's cart rattling past. Alex waited until silence returned, then climbed back up to the 28th floor. The corridor was empty now. He stood outside 2847 again, close enough to hear the shower running inside. Maya's voice, singing something he didn't recognize. Happy. Unguarded. Alex pulled out his phone and took one more photo. The door. The number. The do not disturb sign hanging from the handle. Then he opened his voice recorder. He didn't have to wait long. The shower shut off. More laughter. Victor's voice again, "We should do this more often. The Chicago deal is just the beginning." "I know." Maya's voice, clearer now. "Once we close Meridian and move the funds, we'll have enough to finally do this right. No more sneaking around. God, I can't wait to be done with all the pretending." Alex stopped the recording. 37 seconds. Clear audio. Concrete evidence. He saved the file with the same naming convention he used for project documentation, 2024-03-12_Chicago_evidence_01.m4a. Then he walked back to the elevator, rode down to the lobby, and checked into a different hotel 6 blocks away. A modest place with clean lines and no memories. In his new room, Alex sat at the desk and opened his laptop. Created a new folder. Labeled it with clinical precision, Project Dissolution, Evidence Log. He uploaded the photos. The audio file. Began a spreadsheet with timestamps and observations. His chest felt hollow, but his mind was clear. If Maya and Victor had built their affair on deception, Alex would dismantle it with documentation. Alex sat at the desk in his new hotel room, the laptop screen casting blue light across his face. Outside, Chicago moved through its morning routine, traffic humming, sirens wailing in the distance, the city indifferent to the quiet demolition happening in room 914 of the Hampton Inn. He downloaded encryption software first. Military grade. The kind used for classified architectural projects involving government contracts. Then he created a hidden partition on his hard drive, password protected with a 16-character string only he would know. The folder materialized on his screen, Project Dissolution, Evidence Log. Inside, he created subfolders with the methodical care of a man organizing load calculations. Audio. Photos. Financial. Communications. Timeline. He uploaded everything from his phone. The images of the hotel, the door, the Do Not Disturb sign. The audio recording, 37 seconds that confirmed what he'd heard through the door. He labeled each file with date stamps, location data, and brief descriptive tags. Evidence_01_audio, subject M and subject VT, intimate conversation. Reference to moving funds and Meridian deal. Time, 7:31 Central Standard Time. His phone buzzed. Maya's name lit up the screen. Morning babe. Meetings all day. How's the Harrison project going? Alex stared at the message. 3 heart emojis. A casualness that felt obscene. He took a breath and typed back, his fingers steady, missing you. Bonus came through, thinking we should plan that trip to Napa we talked about. Love you. He hit send before he could think about it. 3 dots appeared immediately. Then, that's amazing. Yes, let's do it. Can't wait to celebrate with you. Love you too, red heart. Alex set the phone down and returned to his laptop. He opened a new document and began typing with the precision he used for structural analysis reports. Every detail mattered. Every observation had weight. He documented the timeline from the moment he decided to surprise her, the front desk revelation, the voices through the door, Victor's words about doing this right, Maya's comment about being done with pretending. He noted the discrepancy. Maya had told him she was staying through Friday. The hotel reservation, according to the front desk attendant, ran through Sunday. 2 extra days she hadn't mentioned. Alex added a new line to his document, query, what other discrepancies exist in stated versus actual travel schedule? He saved the file, backed it up to an encrypted cloud server, then closed the laptop. His reflection stared back at him from the dark screen, hollow-eyed, unfamiliar. Outside, Chicago continued its indifferent rhythm. Inside, Alex Sterling began building his case with the same precision he used to build skyscrapers. 1 steel beam at a time. Alex flew home that evening, maintaining the fiction that he'd never left. He texted Maya from the airport, long day. Heading to bed early. Safe travels tomorrow. Her response came 20 minutes later, you too, babe. Sleep well, red heart. He wondered if Victor was beside her when she typed it. The house felt different when he walked through the door at midnight. The same furniture, the same framed photos on the mantel, their wedding day, a trip to Santorini, Maya laughing in his arms on a beach in Maui, but everything had shifted imperceptibly, like a building settling after an earthquake, the cracks not yet visible but the damage already done. Alex didn't sleep. At 2 a.m., he stood outside Maya's home office, the door she always kept locked when she traveled. He'd never questioned it before. Privacy, she'd said. Confidential client information. The lock was simple. A basic tumbler mechanism. He had it open in 40 seconds. Inside, her desk was immaculate. Matching pen holders, a designer lamp, stacks of folders organized by color-coded tabs. Alex pulled on latex gloves, the kind he used when handling sensitive blueprints, and began systematically photographing everything. Expense reports first. He flipped through them slowly, his phone camera capturing each page. Chicago. Seattle. Boston. San Francisco. The dates aligned with her business trips, but the amounts made his breath catch. Dinners for two at restaurants charging $400 a plate. Hotel suites when she told him she was staying in standard rooms. Car services to addresses he didn't recognize. He opened her laptop. She'd left it on her desk, foolishly trusting or simply careless. The password was their anniversary. It had always been their anniversary. Alex felt something cold settle in his chest as the screen came to life. He navigated to her email, then to her bank accounts, the personal one he knew about, and another he didn't. The second account showed deposits he couldn't trace. 50,000. 75,000. Numbers that appeared and disappeared like ghosts, transferred to accounts with names he'd never heard. He photographed everything. Transaction histories. Email threads. Calendar entries that didn't match what she told him. At 4 a.m., he found the shared drive folder labeled Meridian_confidential. Inside were contracts, investment portfolios, wire transfer authorizations. Victor's name appeared again and again, co-signed with Maya's. Alex downloaded the entire folder to an encrypted drive. Then he closed the laptop, returned everything to its exact position, and locked the office door behind him. In the kitchen, he made coffee and watched dawn break over the city skyline. His marriage was over. He'd known that the moment he heard Victor's voice through the hotel door. But this was something bigger. Something that smelled like fraud. Alex found the forensic accountant through a corporate attorney he'd worked with on a commercial development deal 3 years ago. One phone call, one careful explanation about potential financial irregularities in a business partnership, and he had a name, Rebecca Chen, former FBI white-collar crimes investigator, now running a private forensic accounting firm in downtown. Her office was in a nondescript building between a bail bondsman and a copy shop. No brass nameplate, no marble lobby. Just a buzzer and a stairwell that smelled like old coffee. Rebecca was 50-something, gray-haired, with reading glasses on a chain and eyes that missed nothing. She listened to Alex's story without interrupting, her pen moving across a legal pad in shorthand he couldn't decipher. "I need to know what they're doing," Alex said, sliding the encrypted drive across her desk. "The money movements, the offshore accounts, whatever they're hiding. I need documentation that will hold up." Rebecca plugged the drive into an air-gapped laptop, no internet connection, no network access. Smart. She scrolled through the files Alex had copied, her expression never changing. "This is sophisticated," she said after 10 minutes. Shell corporations, layered transfers, timing that suggests they understand audit cycles. She looked up at him. Your wife and her partner aren't amateurs. Can you trace it? I can trace anything. Rebecca removed the drive and handed it back. But I need to be clear about what you're hiring me to do. If this is what it looks like, systematic diversion of client funds, we're not talking about divorce leverage. We're talking about federal crimes. Securities fraud, wire fraud, possibly money laundering. Alex felt something cold and precise click into place inside him. How long? 2 weeks for a preliminary report. For a complete forensic analysis with documentation that would satisfy the SEC. I need it in 3. Rebecca studied him for a long moment. You understand that once I confirm criminal activity, I'm obligated to report it. This doesn't stay private. Good, Alex said. I want them buried. She nodded slowly. My retainer is $25,000. Alex pulled out his checkbook, the personal account Maya didn't monitor. The commission bonus he'd been planning to spend on champagne and roses in a hotel room that belonged to someone else's marriage. He wrote the check without hesitation. Rebecca took it, then extended her hand. Her grip was firm, professional. I'll call you in 72 hours with preliminary findings. Alex walked out into the gray afternoon, feeling lighter than he had in days. The trap was being built. Now he just had to wait for it to spring. Rebecca called on day 18. Not 72 hours, 18 days of Alex maintaining the performance of his life. 18 days of good morning texts to Maya, of asking about her meetings, of pretending the foundation beneath him wasn't already rubble. We need to meet, Rebecca said. Not at my office. Somewhere public. They sat in a corner booth at a diner 3 miles from Alex's house, surrounded by the clatter of dishes and the hum of meaningless conversation. Rebecca slid a manila envelope across the table, thick with documentation. It's worse than I thought, she said quietly. Alex opened the envelope. Spreadsheets, bank statements, wire transfer records, all annotated in Rebecca's precise handwriting. Numbers that made his vision blur. They've been systematically diverting client investment capital for 14 months, Rebecca continued. The Meridian deal you found? It's a shell. Fake investors, fabricated projections, money flowing in and immediately being rerouted through a network of offshore accounts in the Caymans, Singapore, and Luxembourg. Alex stared at the numbers. $7.3 million. The affair isn't the story, Rebecca said. It's the cover. Every business trip corresponds with a major fund transfer. Chicago, Seattle, Boston, they weren't there for client meetings. They were there to finalize wire transfers, meet with offshore banking representatives, and establish the infrastructure to disappear. Disappear. Rebecca flipped to another page. Flight reservations, dated 4 months out. 2 tickets to Buenos Aires. One way. Names that weren't Maya Sterling or Victor Thorne, but the photos on the passport applications were unmistakable. They're planning to vanish with the money in August, Rebecca said. By the time anyone realizes what happened, they'll be in a country with no extradition treaty, living off stolen capital. Alex felt something shift inside him, not anger, not even betrayal anymore. Something colder. Mathematical. The business trips, he said slowly. They were money laundering operations. Correct. Every hotel, every restaurant, every car service, all paid for with diverted client funds, creating a paper trail that looks legitimate until you dig 3 layers deep. Rebecca leaned forward. Alex, this is federal. Wire fraud, securities fraud, conspiracy. We're talking 20 years minimum if prosecuted. Alex looked at the passport photos. Maya smiling, her hair different, lighter. Victor beside her, his arm around her waist. A future they'd been building while he slept beside her every night. How soon can you have a complete report ready for the SEC? He asked. Rebecca checked her watch. 72 hours. Make it 48, Alex said. I want them buried before they know what hit them. Alex spent the next 3 days treating the exposure like he would any major construction project, methodical planning, critical path analysis, identifying the exact moment of maximum structural impact. Maya's firm had a quarterly board meeting scheduled for April 2nd. 23 days away. The meeting where they'd present Q1 performance and outline their strategy for the Meridian deal, the fake deal built on stolen money. Victor would be there. Maya would be there. The entire executive board, the external auditors, the compliance officers. Perfect. Alex sat in his home office with Rebecca's forensic report spread across his desk like architectural blueprints. He'd read it 17 times, memorizing every transaction, every shell corporation, every fraudulent wire transfer. The evidence was airtight. Irrefutable. The kind of documentation that ended careers and started federal investigations. He began building 3 identical packets. The first would go to Whitmore and Associates Board of Directors, Maya and Victor's firm. Complete forensic analysis, annotated bank statements, proof of fund diversion, the offshore account structures, the falsified Meridian documentation. Everything needed to trigger an immediate internal investigation and termination. The second packet would go to the Securities and Exchange Commission. Federal jurisdiction. Wire fraud across state lines, securities violations, investor deception. Rebecca had already flagged the relevant statutes, 18 U.S.C. Section 1343, 15 U.S.C. Section 78J, B. 20 years maximum sentencing. The third packet would go to the firm's external auditor, Deloitte. The same auditing firm that would be present at the April 2nd board meeting, the ones legally obligated to report financial irregularities to federal authorities. Alex printed everything in triplicate. Bound each packet with the precision of a technical specification document. Created redundant digital copies on encrypted drives, backed up to 3 separate cloud servers. He drafted the cover letter with the cold clarity of an engineering report. To whom it may concern, the enclosed documentation provides irrefutable evidence of systematic client fund diversion and securities fraud perpetrated by Maya Sterling and Victor Thorne over a 14-month period, totaling $7.3 million in misappropriated capital. No emotion. No personal grievance. Just facts, figures, and federal statutes. Maya came home that evening and found him in the kitchen, making dinner like he had 1,000 times before. Something smells amazing, she said, kissing his cheek. She smelled like expensive perfume and lies. Thought we could use a nice meal together, Alex said, smiling. We haven't had enough time lately. I know. I'm sorry. Work has been insane. I understand, Alex said, plating the pasta. Only 3 more weeks until your big board meeting, right? Maya nodded, oblivious. April 2nd. Biggest presentation of the year. I'm sure you'll kill it, Alex said. He meant every word. The 23 days passed with excruciating slowness. Alex maintained the performance flawlessly, dinners together, movie nights on the couch, conversations about nothing that mattered. Maya never suspected. Why would she? He was the same devoted husband he'd always been, right down to the way he kissed her goodnight. On March 28, 5 days before the board meeting, Alex installed monitoring software on Maya's laptop. Not a listening device, too risky, too detectable. Instead, he used a keylogger program disguised as a routine security update, the kind corporate IT departments pushed automatically. Maya clicked install without reading it. Now every email, every message, every keystroke flowed silently to Alex's encrypted server. The conversations were worse than he'd imagined. Victor, 11:47 p.m., can't stop thinking about last night. Maya, 11:52 p.m., me either. Just a few more weeks and we're free. Victor, 11:54 p.m., Buenos Aires is going to be perfect. New life, new names, 7 million reasons to celebrate. Maya, 11:58 p.m., I almost feel bad. Almost. Victor, 12:03 a.m., don't. He'll be fine. Guys like Alex always land on their feet. Besides, he's boring. You deserve better. Maya, 12:06 a.m., you're right. I'm done pretending. Alex read it 3 times, his face expressionless, then archived the conversation to his evidence folder. Additional documentation. Additional proof of intent. On April 1st, the day before the board meeting, Alex scheduled 3 courier deliveries for 9 a.m. sharp. Federal Express, signature required. 1 to Whitmore and Associates Board Chairman. 1 to the SEC's Enforcement Division. 1 to Deloitte's Senior Audit Partner. He'd timed it perfectly. The board meeting started at 10. Maya's presentation was scheduled for 10:30. By the time she stood up to deliver her fraudulent projections, the evidence packets would already be in the hands of people who could destroy her. That night, Maya came home buzzing with nervous energy. Big day tomorrow, she said, pouring wine. I can't believe it's finally here. You've worked so hard for this, Alex said, raising his glass. To your success. They clinked glasses. Maya smiled, radiant and unsuspecting. Thank you for being so supportive, she said. I know I've been distant lately. After tomorrow, things will be different. I promise. I believe you, Alex said. He did. Things would be very different. At midnight, after Maya fell asleep, Alex sat in the darkness of their living room and looked at his phone. 3 emails queued and scheduled for 9 a.m. delivery. 3 evidence packets ready for courier pickup at 8:30 a.m. Everything was in place. The building was about to fall. Alex watched the clock in his office turn to 9 a.m. Somewhere across the city, 3 couriers were delivering 3 packets that would detonate Maya's carefully constructed lie. His phone buzzed at 9:47. Maya's text, presentation starts in 15. Wish me luck. Red heart. He typed back, you've got this. At 10:15, Alex opened his laptop and navigated to the monitoring software. Maya's screen mirrored on his display, her presentation deck, confident slides about market expansion and the Meridian investment opportunity, projected revenue growth built on money that didn't exist. She was smiling. He could tell from the way her cursor moved, steady and assured. At 10:33, everything changed. The presentation screen froze. Alex watched Maya's cursor dart frantically across the display. Then her email application opened, an automated notification from the board chairman's office, urgent, executive session called. All presentations suspended. Report to conference room A immediately. Maya's typing became erratic. She opened another email. Then another. The SEC notification. The Deloitte inquiry. Her cursor stopped moving entirely. Alex's phone rang. Maya's name flashed on the screen. He let it ring 4 times before answering. Alex, her voice was barely controlled panic. Something's happened. Something's wrong. They're accusing us of. Of what? Alex asked calmly. Fraud. They're saying Victor and I diverted client funds. There's documentation, forensic reports, they have everything, her voice cracked. Alex, I don't understand. Someone sent evidence to the board, to the SEC, to the auditors. They know about the offshore accounts. They know about. She stopped. The silence stretched between them like a chasm. About the affair. Alex finished quietly. More silence. Then, barely a whisper, you knew. I knew. How long? Chicago. March 12th. I heard you through the hotel room door. Maya's breath caught. Alex, please, I can explain. $7.3 million, Alex said. 14 months of systematic fraud. Falsified investors. Money laundering. The Buenos Aires tickets for August 15th. He paused. Should I continue? The line went dead silent except for the sound of Maya's ragged breathing. It was you, she whispered. You sent the evidence. I did. Why didn't you confront me? Because this wasn't about us anymore, Alex said. You didn't just betray me. You committed federal crimes. And I documented everything. In the background, Alex heard voices. Official voices. Security. Ms. Sterling, you need to come with us. Alex, Maya's voice broke completely. Please. He ended the call. At 2:37 p.m., Alex walked into his attorney's office and filed for divorce. At 4:15 p.m., federal agents escorted Victor Thorne out of his office in handcuffs. By evening, it was over. Alex stood in his empty house, watching the sun set over the city skyline, and felt nothing but the cold satisfaction of a structure demolished exactly according to plan. I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed creating it. Like, share, and comment on the lessons you've learned. Let me know where you're watching from in the comments below. See you in my next story.